Well, we're here. Hi, Craig.
Well, hi Sam. How you doing today?
It's so nice to see you in, well, it just kind of looks like to my left, but in a relatively dark and vibey space.
Well, thank you. Thank you for noticing that, first of all. It's always a delight.
Oh,
It's
okay,
all
cool.
this is part of the behind the scenes look at the studio space. So
I like it.
so it's
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's a lot
a
of fun. But
big
it's
black
good to
void.
see you. Good to see you even in a virtual space.
I
It's always
totally
fun.
agree. Yes, I'm very excited about chatting with you today. It feels like every time we chat, it is a podcast episode, and so why not actually record one of these and just hope that we have some of the same magic and banter. We'll see.
Well, I like it. I like the idea. Here we go. Here we
Okay,
go.
great. So, just so everybody kind of has a little bit more information about you after, of course, the lovely bio that I will have read. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how'd you get started as a performer and what kind of kind of shaped your education as a musician and performer?
All right. Well, that's a good question. First of all, Sam, thank you for asking that question. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
Uh,
It's totally my pleasure.
Well, it's interesting, for me in my case, I'm a little different than some because I pretty much was born into an entertainment family, and so I was actually born when they were on tour between tour stops. So I was born like not even in a hospital. I didn't even know we were going to go into the baby, my origin, my
Yeah, yeah. It
my
was
origin
actually in the middle
story.
of a set, right? It was like
Pretty
the
much, it was
like
in the middle of a song. My mom was singing "Climb Every Mountain," and there it was. I was there.
all of a sudden
No,
the
but
crowd
so
was
it's
like,
interesting.
"Wow, what an incredible show! Do they do this every time?" It sounds fascinating.
And then the small print, it always says, please, results may vary. Not necessarily. It's not necessarily a birth that goes on in every show. But then
Right,
the
right,
VIP
right.
section has the best experience. But no, but I was
The
born. So I was
splash
born.
zone. Yeah, yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
And so I was born, but yeah, there were seven of us at one time. So our parents both had music backgrounds too. Our dad was a classical trained piano player, and he arranged
Sure.
choirs. And our mom was a stage performer and singer, so she was in a lot of Broadway style shows. So she was the lead in The King and I, My Fair Lady, and The Sound of Music, and all that. So we
Sure.
grew up, myself and four siblings, we grew up in that environment, both hearing all the music from different eras, but also on tour. And so from about the age of 4 and 5, I was doing my own solos and singing with the bunch. So it was a great way to grow up. Honestly, we toured around the world and had a great
Man,
time. It really was. It was awesome.
4-year-old Craig. That is sounds adorable. Yeah,
It was fun. Yeah, it
yeah.
was a delight. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But yeah, so our dad also, and you mentioned on the background training. I take it some official lessons and over the years and different things too. But we grew up so much in the professional world that our dad, from the time we were about 2 years old, each of us, he would sit us on a piano bench and he would have us match the notes, match the tones. So we were singing from such a young age that we. That's also why my own career, I love to do a diverse range of styles vocally and in
Sure.
all of the ways because it's always been there and so yeah, so we've always had that going on and love it.
Yeah, I mean that is one of the best ways I think to force perfect pitch on somebody is when they're
That's
2 and
true.
3 to be like match this
Yep.
now this what is this what is that
Yeah,
so
it's a good
yeah
point.
yeah your dad he had plans for everybody clearly.
He did. So it was fun. It was a cool way to grow up, and so I didn't have the normal childhood experience in some respects, but it was cool. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was so much fun. So
Yeah, absolutely. And so, how did that translate into in adulthood deciding that you were interested, among other things, in working on ships?
well, that's a very good question. So for my interest in ships, well, not everyone back at home now you'll know as well, but I've lived in Florida for a while now, and so not from there originally, but been there so many years. So when I was doing land shows or land tours, whatever I was doing when I was older, I was just going cruises for fun anyway. When I was not doing land shows and tours, and so That's actually how I found you guys, because it's something I'd always talked about doing. And so I started doing research. We're going to say some nice things about you guys, so get ready. Get ready.
I
I hope
don't.
you're sitting down. You
Oh,
are sitting down. Okay, you're ready. You're ready,
yeah. Sit
Sam.
down, all of you. Yes. No.
All of you.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so I started doing research, different talent agencies and different companies that especially had expertise in the cruise world. And so through my research, you guys would always pop up as one of the best to work with, some of the greatest people. So, they used to say all the time, it's all that in a bag of chips. So you guys were like the lime chips, but also low on sodium, so it's guilt free. And so that's a
It's the
positive thing.
best
But I
kind.
heard about you guys, and you often would pop up at the top of the list of great agencies. And so, yeah, so that's how it all worked. But I decided, I was like, hey, why not do cruise tours for a while? I haven't done that side of it, but I love going on cruises. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Why not?
And that's how it started. The rest is
That's
history.
how it
We'll
began.
talk about the history too. And the first time that you went out, it was with your brother, right? It was
It
you guys
was.
as a duo.
Yeah, so we did that a few years ago, and of course, he was interested in that as well. So we're like, let's just do it and see what happens. And it was a lot of fun. And I will say, there's some different things about the cruise world that, of course, are different from being on land, and so there was a learning experience as well. One of which was we had no idea, so we way overpacked, because when one thing about the cruise thing is that you tend to be gone at least several months most of the
Sure.
time, and
Yeah.
so we didn't even fly to the spot. The first one was out of Texas, as you know. And so we didn't even fly there. We drove. So we had no idea. So we had so much. We had like thousands and thousands of papers for all the songs we had. So we had these huge binders, and it was crazy. We had no idea. But that's a learning experience, for anyone out there interested in this world too. It's do some research. Information's out there, but you have to learn sometimes too. But
I blame us for not
interesting.
saying like, hey, how many pieces of paper and how many bags you bringing? But also, I do feel like when you fly, it's so limiting, right? Like you
Oh
really can
yeah.
only bring so much, and before you start getting charged per bag
Oh yeah.
by the
Absolutely.
pound, and
Oh yeah.
so the opportunity to drive to join a ship, which you're going to do on your next ship as well,
Yeah. Next one for
which
sure.
we love, but it does mean that all of a sudden you can bring more things, and while cabins are small, it still is a luxury that is rarely exercised when sometimes you're flying halfway around the world to
Oh yeah,
join.
that's
And
true.
so,
That's true, and that's a good point. Even depending on the country you're going to, of course, you have to figure out what their luggage rules are, and that's one of the. It's just, it's an interesting little challenge that goes along with it, but it's also it's
it's part
cool. It's
part
part
of
of
the
the fun,
adventure.
and
Exactly.
sometimes after you do one, then you know so much more. And but we
Absolutely.
had we had to rent a U-Haul to go back. Ironically, we had so much stuff. So
I,
not quite necessary to have that much stuff. We just didn't
yeah.
know. So that was a
Yeah, yeah.
fun one.
I mean, that's impressive. I feel like if you've driven down and you already have too much stuff, you would think that you would pawn other things off or sell your clothes or give away your things. But instead, you were forced to rent a larger car to bring everything home. So I think what we'll say is that you also like ask the ship permission to take some of its like art back with you, like statues and things like that. So you were like,
That's all
oh,
right.
we just can't fit it in the car.
You don't need this Venus de Milo, right? I'll just tie it to the
You
back
just
of the U-Haul. It's gonna be fine. I'm sure.
it's
I'll
like
hang
you and
some of
your
my guitar.
brother carrying it out together. Like, oh,
I'll hang
this
some of
will
my
only take a
guitars on
second.
this.
Right,
She's still
right,
got
right.
one arm. Does she have one? Well, she only has. Wait, she has no arms,
She
right?
has
So
no
you could
arms. Right,
hang the
yeah, yeah,
guitars right there off the edge of it, and you'll be okay. So,
right. I mean,
but it was
she
a
didn't
challenge.
need hands to play the guitar.
True.
She's the Venus de Milo.
Very true.
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah. But she's special. Yeah.
She is.
So yeah, I think so much of it, like you said, is you do it once and you learn, and there's always going to
You
be a
do.
learning curve
Hmm.
before you get on your first ship. And of course, it is our responsibility in part to say, okay, this is what we recommend for this and this and this. And so, to an extent, that is going to be on us. But then, of course, there are just certain things that you live and you learn,
Yeah.
and
You just
every
have to
ship is
learn it.
different. Every contract is different. The people will always be different, and so it's a very unique combination of people and places and things that come together for everybody's first ship experience. And so once you've done that, then you're like, all right, now I get it. Like
Absolutely,
now
yeah.
I know how to run this gig, how to make the most of my time, and how to make the most of my performances on the bandstand and all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And so, aside from, of course, bringing too many things on board, what was notable about your first assignment with Carnival, your first contract, with your brother? I will say, you were. It was a country group, right? Like
It
that's how
was.
that's your first came on board, which is so unusual because most country groups are very good at country, but they wouldn't exactly be great if you were like, hey, we need you to do a classic rock set or an oldie set or a Broadway set. And the fact that now you're a soloist that does everything from Broadway sets to Fleetwood Mac tributes, that this is unusual, but I think it speaks to your versatility as a musician. So, coming on board as a country act with your brother, what were some of the things that you really enjoyed about the gig? What were the things that you came on board and were really delighted to find was a part of cruise ship life? And then once you finished answering that, what were some of the other challenges that you saw that first contract in terms of maybe what you didn't expect to see on board?
Very good question. So I would say because both Keith and I, my brother and I, we both had been on so many cruises. So as far as cruise format, I've met some people even on the music side who'd never even been on a ship before. And so that, is an even bigger culture shock for them, I'm sure. But we had a good idea of the vibe.
Mhm.
But for us, it was interesting. It was interesting. Of course, there's a cruise culture that goes along with the experience. And one of my favorite things, as an aside, one of my very favorite things about the whole cruise experience is just the amazing people you meet. And that's true from a guest perspective. I've met so many great friends I stay in touch with, but also the people behind the scenes are also incredible. Almost everybody has such good attitudes. And so that part of it was a very pleasant surprise for us overall. It was just people are very easy to work with. And that's not always the case in entertainment. It's not always the case, anywhere, but it was cool. That was a cool aspect of it. Of course, the learning curve was really, like we talked about earlier, just more the logistics of it that we had to kind of figure out. But our background, of course, you know more about it than some, but we did everything growing up, and we have that side of it. So when they asked if we'd want to do some country for a while, I'm like, sure, why not? We knew hundreds of country songs anyway, and so that was fun. But yeah, it was nice. It was nice to really experience that side of it, and just getting to know so many amazing people is one of the biggest highlights still to this day. As far as
Yes. Yeah, of course. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, no, you're good. I was just gonna say, as far as challenges, every place is different, every ship is different. I mean, and this is true of live entertainment anywhere you go. But there's always sound issues that can happen, surprising things can happen everywhere. But that's just part of the show. It's all part of the show, and so it's been good. It's been much more fun and rewarding experience, even versus challenges. And most of the challenges are just things you just learn along the way, and you adapt. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
No, no, of course. And those same kind of challenges, at least logistics, sound, etc., that happens on land, that happens at
Oh
sea,
yeah,
that happens
everywhere.
anywhere that you have a gig and anywhere that there is a stage. So
Absolutely.
I think that's to be expected. And sometimes you get really, really wonderful sound folks on
Oh yeah,
techs on ship, and sometimes you get people who
absolutely.
are less than competent. And the same is true on land and in
Oh yeah,
theaters everywhere. And so
everywhere,
I
everywhere.
I think people sometimes like to rag on the text, for example, but there are some really great ones, and
Oh yeah,
that's also
amazing
part
ones.
of it.
Yeah,
Is that you never know what you're going to get on board, and I think also just the kind of attitude that you have about meeting great people, and I think so much of it comes from your own perspective, right? If you're putting out great energy, then I think you're going to see that back to you in spades.
it's a
It
good point.
is truly reciprocal,
It's a
and
very good point.
there are a few people I think that have as positive of an outlook on ships and on life as you, despite challenges like the rest of us and some really considerable hardship, I would say. And so that doesn't go without I think an important asterisk, which is to say that if you believe positively and you act accordingly, that you'll see it come back to you. There's whatever version of karma that exists, I think, is very, very true for your experience on board.
That's a good way to see it. Yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool gig, I gotta say. It's
Yeah.
not
And
everyone gets the opportunity to have that experience, and
it's
it's
true.
cool.
It's true, although it is there for musicians if they
That's
want it.
true.
All they have to do is call Lime Entertainment. But
That's right.
but I also think that just in the way that in the way that you approach the gig too, and the way that you say that, well, everybody on board was so nice. I think from a cruise director's perspective, or an entertainment director's perspective, or a musical director's perspective, whoever your bosses are on board, once they see that you are both a great musician, or a great duo when it was you and your brother, and on top of that, a very self-sufficient and competent person, it takes so much pressure off of their job. Then they're like, oh, well, Kraig is just one more person that I don't have to worry about, or one less person that I have to worry about, given a number of people that they're babysitting otherwise on board.
That's a good
And
way. Yeah, that's a good
we
point.
know how musicians can be sometimes. We need some hand
We won't
holding.
say them by name. We won't say their names
we,
here.
don't, we won't say, because we don't
Maybe
have
later.
time, really. We could be here for the next 14 days. It'd be like a filibuster or something. So the idea that you're going to come in and say, well, everybody was really nice, and it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. You did a great job on board, and they loved you, so they were like, yes, Kraig, whatever you need. And I think that is truly the way to a cruise director or a musical director's heart, is to say, you know what, I got this. Certain times when maybe you could ask them for help or for questions, but you're like, I think I can solve this on my own.
Yeah.
As somebody who has been a musical director in the past, man, there are so few performers and groups who truly took that upon themselves to just take care of it, so that I didn't have to, and I'm grateful for every one of them. That is a list that would take me a very small amount of time to read through, those people. And I think the same is true just for performers in general. There's not that many who really take ownership of the gig, like
Yeah.
I think that you do on board as well. Every time you and I talk, I hear you mention something else about how you're trying to improve the product on board. You're working on your own shows. Like, and we've talked about some tribute shows that you do, right? Like, a lot of solos don't even have a single tribute show or themed shows. But what are some of the
Yeah.
ones that you're working on right now, or that you already performed
That's a
on
good
board?
question. Yeah, so I would say, as far as lately, some of the most recent ones I've been doing a lot. We have let's see, there's a 70s one, which is big, an 80s one, a 90s one. I depending on where I am, I also will I'll offer a few different ones, often based on the location or demographic. So when I'm out of Texas, we've got a Johnny Cash one, we got some Elvis.
Sure.
I do a good deal more country out that way, but then I also have coming up to the Mardi Gras very soon. I'll also be adding back in, I guess, some classic Broadway stuff. Also, I have one now that's also like hits from the movies,
Oh yeah.
is also in there. I do a classic rock one. Got an old like classic country that's more like the old artists. One that I wish I would do more, but the audience, it just has to be the right crowd. Is one piece of Americana that I really love is like a lot of the old Western music. So guys like Marty Robbins and Gene Autry, stuff like that. I love that too. And so it just depends on where you are, because sometimes the crowd, they might not remember it as much, but for the ones who do, I love stuff like that too. So I think my list is, I do about 40 or 45 different ones that I have available. And I do a lot of Journey. I have a whole Journey show, a Queen
Yeah.
show. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac is one you mentioned earlier, and so that's
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I love music from all eras, and so it's cool. It's cool to be able to do that. And when there's fans out there who love a certain artist or a certain era, when it's advertised, one beautiful thing about Carnival, and I don't think every company has this, but they have this app that's such such a beautiful thing. It organizes everything, so it also gives people the opportunity to see what's going to be coming up, and to also see like if there's certain theme shows that they love. Then of course you're going to get people who love that stuff. They won't miss out.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
a delight. But always adding new stuff in. I've got a Bruno Mars one too, which is fun. So yeah,
Nice.
it's cool.
Yeah,
A lot of
love
fun.
it. It's just, I mean, there are very few male soloists who are attempting Bruno Mars or Journey, for that matter, or Queen. That is rangy, and it's also worth saying. And if you know, you know. If you've worked on board, the hours are long. I mean, they're not too long. I don't want to discourage people from doing this gig, but you know, you're performing for 3 or 4 hours a day as a soloist, right? And so the idea that you can sing a journey, like you can do a Journey tribute at any point in the cruise, aside from day 2 of your contract, when your voice is still fresh, is impressive in and of itself. But also just the sheer number of themed and tribute shows. Like you were like, I do 4, and I'm like, 4 for most people would be great. Like if we're working with a new applicant who is a guitar soloist or piano bar entertainer, and they say, oh, I do 4 themed shows, we're like, oh, amazing. Like everybody will love you. And then Kraig says 4T, 40, 40. So there's a lot more than just 4. But again, really cool that you're able to do that, and also that you enjoy those different styles so much to say, I love doing Western, and I also love doing, I don't know, New Orleans style or second line, or
Yeah,
I
that's
love
right.
doing, jazz or blues or whatever different styles. And I mean, 40 sounds like basically every style that has ever been invented. So to be able to have that versatility and also enjoy playing those different kinds of music, I think is really special. Like what's in your Broadway show? What tunes are you singing?
Very good question. Okay, and I should also say I don't want to sound too arrogant on this, so I do not have a theme show based around the best like skiffle band music. I don't have anything on that, so I just want people to know. Don't get
That's
your expectations up too much on that because there's the dining rooms are wonderful on the ship, but they will never let me have that many forks and spoons and knives to actually create the experience.
which is a shame. We should really work on
It's
that.
too
But
bad. Maybe we can look into that.
yes, we
But
would love that. Yeah.
so in the Broadway one, I love that style of music. It's one of my favorites. So we have selections, for example, from okay, so we have some Oklahoma in there. We've got some Phantom of the Opera in there. We've got
Of
Les
course.
Mis.
Of course.
There's a big variety, and for most of my theme sets that I do, theme shows. I mean, I'd say probably on average you get about 10 songs, but I try to have more because I think depending on the crowd, depending on the group you have, all have different variations. And so, who knows? We might have some things from Rent, depending on the crowd. We
Oh,
might have
fun.
some Hamilton.
Yeah.
Got some Hamilton coming up when we're going to get to the Mardi Gras. We'll have some shows from
Nice.
there, or some songs
Which
from there.
Hamilton
So
tune do you do?
I will say one of my favorites is My
My
Shot.
shot.
Not
Yeah.
Throwing Away My Shot. That's a fun one. But there's so much great music in there too, and
Yeah.
we got some
Yeah.
cats in there too. Since cats are not allowed on board, we'll at least have some tunes
Yeah. yeah.
from cats.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's always changing too, so it just depends on the crowd too. I'll have a few variations. So a lot of fun
Sure.
though. I love that style. It's a lot of fun to sing.
Totally. And it is, I think, whenever you allow a crowd into a tribute show, then all of a sudden they assume that you're an expert on the genre or the subgenre. And so I think it does make sense if you are in the line of extra credit work where you're learning more than just the set for that particular day, or just the 12 or 15 songs, because of course you're going to get people as soon as they hear you sing something from Rent, so as soon as you sing, whatever, Light My Candle, then they're going to be like, oh, well, actually my favorite is like, you know, Seasons of Love, or my favorite is,
Yeah.
or they're like, oh, like Phantom, like, so I think to be able to say like, well, I'm really going to do a deep dive into this genre and not just learn the top 10 songs, but then be prepared for them to say, oh, cool. In my Eagles tribute, like, you did one of these nights, but like, how about,
Yeah.
and you did Desperado, but I didn't hear you do Peaceful Easy Feeling, and you're like, no, but I can
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it as
that's a
an
good point.
encore. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. So
And that
again,
happens a lot. It does happen a lot, Sam. That's a really good point. Yeah, it
I'm
does.
I'm sure, but to be prepared to do that, be like, yeah, I I got your number, and I think that only endears yourself more to an audience when they're like, I love this, and you're like, no, I love this too. Like we share
Yeah,
in this joy,
absolutely.
and especially if they're asking for deep cuts or other tunes, and you
Yeah,
say, oh,
yeah.
I can do that as well.
And
So
that's a good point. You have a really good point there because I think it's also a cool way, just on the theme shows, where I think you can connect to people on a really deep level because there are people passionate about that. And so, the scenario you just mentioned, it's true. It happens so much when I do the
yep,
Beatles one because they have so many big hits. Sometimes I'll go somewhere and after the theme show, we'll just do a second set of more Beatles, because that's
right,
what they want to hear. And there's so much great stuff. And so
yeah,
it is. It's a cool, and I think for me, just me, because I love the versatility and the diversity in music. So it's fun for me. It keeps it interesting too. And sometimes you'll meet different people on different nights because they might love the Eagles, but they might not love Broadway, and so, or vice versa. You'll meet
yep,
people, and so it's a cool way to even meet more people than you would otherwise, and really experience different styles. And so yeah, I do. I love that aspect of it. It's
yeah,
one of my favorite of doing
absolutely.
these kinds of shows.
Yeah, I think providing a really unique experience for guests as well to
But
see
no skiffle band. Sorry, guys, no skiffle band.
none of that,
I
and
blame
maybe
myself.
right. It is kind of problematic, but there's always room for improvement,
That's true.
and maybe no like thrash metal. Like, do you do like an
Not so
insane
much.
clown posse? No, like
I don't have that so much. I don't
okay,
have. I mean, I'm always open to. Who
a
knows? I'm
tribute
always
show.
adding new things.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, I don't have a lot of that or Anthrax. I don't have a lot of that at this point in time.
Only for now, but there's still time. So
There's the
speaking of
future.
there is so speaking of a future that say isn't always on ships, right? So between cruise contracts, what do you tend to do with yourself, either as a performer or non-related performance, just kind of for
Yeah,
For Craig's sake?
very good question. Well, I'm also a writer, so I love to write, which so soon, hopefully over the next year, there's going to be some releases out there, some of my books, but also working on finishing an album too. And on land, it's been an interesting experience. Some of the details, but there's been a lot of things going on family wise, and just situations, life stuff that happens that some projects have been delayed just a bit. Although for the latest news, you can always go to kraigwhitesel.com and you can sign up on the mailing list, and I'll
Thank
keep you
you.
in the loop and
Yeah,
everybody on the loop.
everybody
And
should.
so
Wait,
yeah, but on
plug
land, I tend
yourself.
to
Sorry,
do.
plug yourself some more. Go.
Okay,
What
no,
Instagram
no, but
handle? No, I think
Kraig Whitesel on all the platforms. I'm
okay.
on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the things. But
Yeah,
um,
cool.
but on land, I tend to do a lot of shows too, a lot of live shows. And when the album's done too, we'll probably start doing some tours or mini tours on land again. I've just been waiting for this project to be completed. Although in the short term, there's also going to be some singles coming out soon, even before the full album. So yeah,
Okay.
it's always
All right.
fun. Always got stuff going on.
Yeah, stay
Some say
tuned.
I'm a workaholic, but I don't know. I don't see it that way. I'm passionate though. I love it. My whole life has been the arts, so
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I mean, what's not to love? Certain things. We could make a list of
we
things that
could, but
yeah, but why? But why? Yeah. Let's focus on the positives because there
let's
are
do
so
it.
many, and it feels like there's always more. Truly, when we have these conversations and we're just pointing out the wonders of the world and
Yeah,
how lucky we are, I think, to be doing what we're doing.
absolutely. We really are. And there's so much beauty out there when we see it, when we allow ourselves to take it all in. And like I say, the whole experience is such a delight for me and meeting the wonderful people and seeing great things.
Yeah.
Of course, that never gets old. So
It doesn't, and it's a beautiful thing, And the hardest part sometimes can be just noticing it and picking yourself up or taking yourself out of whatever it
Yeah.
is that you're doing, just picking your head up and saying like, wow, this is pretty cool. I'm on a ship in the middle of the ocean, or I'm playing guitar or piano for a bunch of guests and they're singing along
Yeah.
to, oh, I don't know, what You Make Love and Fun, or whatever song you're up to in your Fleetwood Mac tribute. And so for anybody who is thinking of working on ships, what would be some advice that you would give those folks?
That's a very good question. Well, I would say let's talk about the pros and some of the, I guess you could say cons or at least challenges to be aware of. I mean, the pros are you get to, if you love music and you're into music, you love performing music, that's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful experience and opportunity. And of course, for even people who are on the non-music side who might want to do something on a ship, of course, that's out there too. But yeah, and I would say things to be aware of. One thing that some people will and should probably take into account is just you're going to be on a tour or in anything like that, you're going to be away from home for a while, and so that's something to definitely think about. Because sometimes you could be gone 3 months, 4 months. Next one for me probably 7 months or more, and so yeah, it can be a length of time, but the experience is great, and if that's something that is something people are okay with and think they can do, it's a wonderful experience. A lot of people I meet, it's funny, they do it for different reasons. And some people I meet, they want to do all, different ships all over the world so that they can see different places. And
Sure.
that's an awesome part of the experience. I have a friend over there who does what I do, he was over in Australia and I was in Australia last year. And that's a great one. And, people's other friends in Europe. And there's so many wonderful places out there to see. So if that's a motivating factor, of course, that's an opportunity. But I just love, for me, my whole life, as you know me, it's been sharing music and connecting with people through art. I believe we all have the power to shape the world, and we can do it. We can do it one person at a time. We can do it a song at a time, maybe two. But it's a beautiful opportunity to do that too. But yeah, people have different reasons they do it, and if it's an experience people would love to try, I say go for it if you can, because it's a really nice opportunity. It's a rewarding experience. You can grow your career if you want to, get a lot of experience if you want to, but it's great. So, yeah, challenge wise though, I would just say advice also, don't take 4,000 pages like I did the first time.
Yeah.
Even if you know thousands of songs, I will say, like, things, having a tablet ahead of time if you're going to be doing music is always a good idea. Just have, anything you can do that will keep it as minimalistic as possible is a good plan. And just knowing what to expect, Sam, you mentioned it earlier, but especially for singers, sometimes you might be singing 3 to 4 hours a day, which, I mean, for me, one thing, because I've done it so many years, I do a lot of vocal exercises that really help.
Mm.
Warm ups, cool downs helps.
Yeah.
I also secret everybody out there. Don't tell everyone, but spoilers, I drink about a gallon of water every day at least before getting on stage. That helps. But things like that. So yeah, it's just it. But that goes along with anything. If you're on tour on land as well, that could be also something that could happen just about as much. And so things like that. But yeah, really logistics are the main thing I would say as far as challenges, people to be aware of. But if you want to have a career in this or want to give it a shot, contact the good people at Lime Entertainment, because they're always wonderful to work with, and they will do the best to make sure you have a great adventure out there.
Thank you, Craig. We,
But of course, only the truth.
yeah. You said exactly what we told you to say. Very good.
And please, Sam,
Wow.
confirm we have never met before this day. We have never met, nor did we pay each other to say these specific good things about each other.
Why would
Please
we
be
ever
aware
do
of that.
that? That's crazy.
No,
That's
no,
crazy,
goodness,
Bill. Yeah. No,
that's
I mean, truly, if I feel like if I was like, Craig is not even, it's not even Craig. His name is like John Williamson, and he's an actor. I feel like people would be like, okay, cool, because so far you've really just said that cruise ships are amazing, and then you get to meet a lot of good people, and the only challenges are logistics and not bringing a lot of paper. And I think most people who've worked on ships might say, oh, like this was also hard and this was also hard, and you're just like,
Okay,
oh,
fair, fair.
great. And so someone might be watching and saying, has this guy ever actually worked on a ship? Like, does he is he just a brilliant character actor and playing the role of cruise ship musician number three? So I will assure everybody here, although wink, Kraig is actually he actually does this and really believes that it's an awesome gig, which we do too. To be fair, it is a wonderful opportunity, but it's always really nice to hear that back, to hear that reaffirmed that it is a wonderful gig and a wonderful opportunity for anybody who is interested in doing some traveling, checking some countries off their bucket list, and learning more about the world and putting themselves in situations where they can be inspired. And I feel like we owe it to ourselves to put ourselves in those types of situations and to make that possible whenever we can.
That's a very good point. That's a good point. But yeah, I mean, those are things I could think of. I mean, again, like we said earlier, there's anytime you're doing a live performance setting, of course, things can have glitches in the sound, or you can have things that would happen anywhere. But yeah, no, I got to say overall, it's been just such a delight. So Sam, I guess if you have other challenges that you want to mention, of course, you can suggest it to people. But no, I mean, for
Not
me, I think
here. It's
the
perfect.
toughest thing,
Yeah.
the toughest things that of people I even meet is that they're being away from home can be a challenge when you have an extended period of time. And
Yeah.
I think I'm more acclimated to it than some because the majority of my life I've been on tour somewhere, and so
Sure.
I'm just used to that experience more. But it can be a factor. It can be a definite factor. I will say to the credit of Carnival at least, they do try their best to even provide ways people can stay in touch overall through like WhatsApp systems and different things that they have available. So that helps, but it's a factor, something to
Yeah.
think about.
It is. It is true, and that is part of the trade-off for going out to work on board ships
Yeah,
for a long time. But it certainly helps if you've been a touring musician, if you've been a bit
yeah,
itinerant in your life. Then I know for me, it didn't feel like too much of a harsh transition because I loved traveling already and had done some
yeah.
of that too. So I think that
And
that
you
does
were on
help.
ships. How many years were you on ships, Sam? You were on ships
Other
for a
ships.
while, right?
I suppose so. A while looks different for everybody, but I
Ooh,
did
that's a good
ships
answer. Good
for
answer.
I did 7 years. I took a break in the middle, and I went traveling for a full year, an around the world trip actually. So,
Nice.
and it was all funded with money that I had saved up from doing cruise ship contracts before that. So,
Very cool.
hear that, kids?
Very cool.
You can
There's
travel
another positive
literally
opportunity,
around
everyone.
the
Another
world.
positive thing for the list.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
But I loved my experience, and it was also with Carnival mostly. I worked for some other lines,
Okay.
but the first couple of years were Carnival alone, including working as an MD there, and it gave me incredible life experience. And I just am very partial to Carnival. I think they do a great job,
They're great. They're great to work with.
and they're
Yeah.
great to work with, and they're responsible for jump-starting my ship career and then nurturing it. So I am very grateful to them for that too. And it also makes me happy every time we have a gig for someone to work on Carnival like yourself. So I know that people are in good hands out there, and I can only hope that you have as much fun as I did when I was working there back in, oh gosh, when was it? 2006 is when I started with Carnival.
2016, you said? 2016, right?
2016?
Sam,
What year?
you're not that old, Sam. How is that possible? So in 2006, they used to have to card you, right? Every time,
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah, I was four. I was 4 years old. But I was like 4-year-old Kraig. I was very prodigious, and they were like, "Well, we're gonna make an exception for you. You are a minor. As long as your parents sign on the dotted line, then we'll hire you." And so
see, that's service right there.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. They're very open. They hire people from all walks of life, including toddlers.
That's good.
So
That's
yes,
wonderful.
yeah. Kraig, it's been so much fun chatting with you,
It
and I feel like
has.
we could do another hour easy, but we'll wrap it up because I'm sure all of our rap listeners need a break, need a pee break, something like that. So thank you again for spending time today, and have a wonderful start to your contract on Mardi Gras. I hope that it is much
Thank you
fun
very much, Sam.
as your previous
It's a
contract.
delight. It's always
Yeah,
a delight. And
always.
gang, make sure to check out Lime because they were some of the best people that I've worked with in these many years. So very nice. It's always a joy. It's always a joy,
Thanks,
Sam,
Kraig.
too.
And check out Kraig, KraigWhitesel.com. We'll link to his Instagram and website in this interview as well. So thanks to everybody. Thank you to the Lime fam and to all of our viewers. And again, one more time, thanks to Kraig. We'll see
Have a
you.
beautiful day. My pleasure, guys. Take
Thanks.
care.
Bye.